Hello, hello. All right, y'all, I don't know about anybody else. I have the worst freaking luck with ring lights. So while I wait for some folks to jump on, I am going to play with my ring light and figure out if I can find out why it keeps turning off on me. So as you filter in, just say hello, say hi, say hi. Hey girl, hey. Bear with me while I figure this out. Good Lord. I mean, honestly. All right. Hi, friends. Hi. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay, I'm going to let you filter in. Hi. I hope you have something to drink. This is going to be a minute. We're going to talk about all the things. If you're a leader who has been struggling in leadership, you may want to grab some tissues. I have a feeling that we're going to lose some tears and we're going to lose some eyelashes tonight. And y'all are just going to look at me like this because we're not going to play with this light tonight. Okay. Hello, hello. All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Johanna Luna. For those of you who do not know me, I am a superstar director out of Gurnee, Illinois, which is a suburb that is almost exactly in the center between Milwaukee and Chicago, to kind of give you a little bit, a little bit of like a grounding for where I'm at. And I'm so excited to talk to you guys tonight, and here's why. So I kind of gave a little preview earlier and I said I'm going to tell my story. I know the light is just out for me this week, Stephanie. Here's a little backstory. If you guys saw another training I did this week, my light kept going out and I talked a lot about my childhood and my mom who passed. And my best friend called me the next day and she was like, girl, that light was going out and it was like some paranormal activity going on. So at least we don't have paranormal activity going on if it's just like a bad ring light from Amazon. That's what you get when you buy cheap. But if you follow me, you know that like we have had paranormal activity. And if that's not your thing, that's not your thing. Don't worry about it. But I believe in it. I don't like it and I don't welcome it, but I do believe in it. And it happens in my house. Okay. So back to what I was talking about, which is the introduction to what we're going to talk about tonight, is this. So I was asked to come on tonight and to, I'm trying not to look at the comments because y'all are making me laugh. I was asked to come on tonight and talk about my story. And at first when I heard tell your story, I was like, oh. I'm going to be honest. I was like, oh. And here's why. It's because A, I've told the story before. But B, it's like everybody's journey is different, right? So like, what am I going to say that's going to be like, yeah, no, I wasn't here for that. But then when somebody said, share your story and share where you're at today, I got behind that. Because what I'm going to talk about tonight is something that I've wanted to talk about for a good 6 months, but I've been afraid to talk about. I've been afraid to talk about it because I didn't want to ruffle feathers. I didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want to scare anybody to thinking that they didn't want this for themselves. I didn't want people to be like, oh, leadership, I just don't want that. That's like not at all what I want to do tonight, but I want to be very transparent with you guys. And I want to tell you something that most people won't tell you. Okay? I am going to tell you, I'm just going to spill all the tea. Okay? And if I ruffle feathers, I ruffle feathers, but A, this is my truth and this is my story, and nobody gets to tell me otherwise. Nobody gets to tell me that this is not the truth for my journey and where I'm at today. Okay? So let's talk first. If you guys are watching this, it's because you're, thank you. Isn't this awesome? I love this shirt. It's so good. All right. If you're watching this, I'm going to swipe away comments. I have to. Y'all are just giving me all the vibes and I want to talk to you guys. Like, y'all are my friends and I want to sit here and chat with you and I just can't. So I swiped you away. I will come back. Cause you guys, you came here to hear me say something and I want to share. So here's the thing. if you're watching this training, it's because you are within Sensi. So if you're with Sensi, whether you've been here a day or you've been here 10 more years, you should understand or know the compensation plan levels, right? So when I say SSD, I say superstar director, ooh, wow, glamorous, top of the compensation plan. Let's not go there. Let's leave that thought process in the past, because your title doesn't freaking matter. It just doesn't matter. And I'm not saying that for you to be like, oh, I don't want to, okay, then I'm not going to try to get to SSD. You should absolutely try to go after your dreams. But I want you to go after them for the right reason. And I want you to have a real firm grasp on the fact that it's okay that your success journey doesn't look like everybody else's. So let's start from the beginning. For those of you that don't know, I am a reinstatement, which if you don't know what that means that I quit Sensi and I came back. So I originally joined Sensi in April of 2015. My youngest was, sorry, my thing went off. He was just a few months old. He was 5 months old and I needed something for me. So I told my husband that this is what I wanted for my Mother's Day gift. And we put my Sensi starter kit on a credit card. We did not have the money for this. We were struggling. I was using coupons to go buy formula. Like, we were struggling and did not know how in the world we were going to make ends meet. And when I started Sensi, I joined under a coworker who is now my best friend. But when I started, she was relatively new in her business too. And our leadership was a little different. And certainly we were kind of just figuring it out as we went. Okay, that's just what it was. And so I, maybe to my own ignorance, a lot to my own ignorance, didn't know about all of the various trainings out there. I had found a couple of leaders on YouTube, but back in 2015, things were very different. Okay, it was just very different in the social media world. And, I had quick start success from my friends and family that supported my business, but I wasn't really like making a business out of it, right? It was an expensive hobby. I'm going to call it what it is. It was an expensive hobby. I suffered from, ooh, shiny. I need all the things. I'm going to buy this stuff. And ultimately my life kind of came front and center, and I had a lot going on with my 9-to-5. I still to this day, as a superstar director, work a full-time job. We're going to talk more about that later. But I really struggled early on. And I struggled in how to balance this thing. And I am an all or nothing person. And so I would go all in, and then I would be out, and my 9-to-5 would take precedent because there was a lot going on there. And it was just kind of a mess. I'm going to be honest. It was a mess. And I think I was spending more money than I was making most months. And I wasn't doing it right. I was not doing this right. And so when my 9-to-5 was really, really rocky, I had no choice but to give this up. Like, I had to make a decision for my family, and I needed to go in on the job that was paying for the food that was going on our table. Okay, it was what it was. Okay, and so I quit, and I quit in January of 2017. Quit in January of 2017, and so I was fine with that. And I was like, I'm selling all my stuff. I got rid of everything. I was like, I don't need this, whatever. So fast forward to August, and I needed more wax, and I wasn't going to give somebody else 25%. So I reinstated. My husband wasn't about it. And I remember sitting with him out on a date one night, and he was like, I don't understand how you think you're going to make any money with this business, how you're going to be successful with this business. It's $6 wax and you make 25%. Explain to me how that adds up to real money. And I showed him the compensation plan, and I said, it's a network marketing business, and you build a team, and a lot of the money comes from the team. Now, at this point, I started to do research, and I started to look at people that were making good money in this business and that were successful in this business. And I looked up to superstar directors, and I thought, they all are making $10,000 a month paychecks. I am going to do that. I envisioned that my first paycheck was going to be a $10 or $12,000 paycheck. And that's because that's what someone else told me it would be like. Okay. So anyway, I came back and I went all in because I knew I wanted incentive trips. I'm somebody that is very motivated by challenges. I'm goal oriented. I like a challenge. I love anything incentive wise, right? So I swear to God, you could say, Johanna, if you sell $3,000 this month, I'm going to give you the shiny pink gumball. It's yours. I'm going to sell $3,500 this month because I want that gumball and I don't want anybody else coming for it. That's just who I am. So this business model suited me and suited me well. Still suits me well. Okay. I'm all about it. And so I learned how to put together a plan. And I'm going to tell you that that's important. If you want to be successful, and by success, let me define success for the rest of this video. Success, by my definition, is that you are happy, that you are fulfilled, and that you are reaching goals that you set for yourself, or you're missing goals that you set for yourself because you're growing. Okay? I do not determine success by a compensation plan, and I do not determine success by being paid at title. Okay? Because there's a lot more that goes into that. We're going to talk about that in a minute too. I told you I'm spilling all the tea. So here's the thing. So I started to put together a plan for this business, and I started to say, this is what I'm going to do. And that first big plan came with the Reach for the Beach incentive, because that trip was going to happen at the beginning of the year that my husband and I were going to celebrate our 10th anniversary. And I was like, I am taking my husband to Mexico. He's still not a believer at this point. And I'm taking him to Mexico for our 10-year anniversary. And we're going to go on Sensei's dime. And I've never been to Mexico. Fun fact, neither my husband nor I ever had a passport before I joined this business, before I earned that incentive trip. Okay? And we were already in our 30s. That's that. Never had been out of the country until Sensei. So, all right. So now I put together a plan and I slayed that first incentive. And a little bit about me, I don't believe in J months. I don't believe in J months, okay? I earned an incentive that covered several J months. I earned an incentive for the first time without promoting because, by the way, I joined and I reinstated, I told you. So when I quit, I was a star consultant. And when I came back and I promoted only up to a star consultant during that incentive period. So no incentive points for promoting. In the spring, summer, and that incentive required 30,000 points. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I slayed that. Slayed it. And I remember earning it for 2 and being so happy. Now, I'm going to tell you, it wasn't all rainbow and sunshine while I was doing it because I struggled a lot during that incentive period. I didn't have somebody coaching me through it. I didn't have somebody telling me, okay, here's what you have to do. I had to create that plan myself. I had to figure it out myself, and I had to do it myself. Okay, because I am an independent Sensei consultant. You heard? Independent Sensei consultant. It is my job and my job alone to get up and get in and do the work. Okay, so I did. So I earned that incentive, and it was that incentive that turned my husband into a believer, okay? It was that incentive because I remember not even being off the plane, barely 5 minutes, walking past the Margaritaville little kiosk, if you will, outside of the airport, and my husband was like, I don't care what you have to do, every single incentive thereafter, you're going to earn it, and I did, with the exception of Marco Island, okay? And that's because I told myself that I couldn't go, so I psyched myself out. That is true. Okay, you will psych yourself out, and you cannot allow this business to do it because I've done it a few times and I'm going to tell you about every time so that you don't do it to yourself. So that incentive changed my business, and it changed my business because it made me a believer in making a plan. You make a plan, you make it happen. It was also in a J month that I promoted to director. Now, before I promoted to director, when I hit SSC, it took me a year to go from star to SSC, okay? A year. So some of y'all that are joining and bing, 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 because we had hypergrowth and you think that this is how it is. No, sweetheart. I can tell you I am one of the hardest working people I know, and I will always be in here late night pouring into my dreams. And it still took me a year to go from SC to SSC. It was the hardest promotion I ever hit. True. I'm all the way to SSD, and it was the hardest promotion that I've ever had to hit. So then when I went from SC to SSC, okay, that was in March, not paid at title. April, not paid at title. May, not paid at title. So imagine my surprise when we're coming up on director in June, a J month. What? I didn't want to hit. I was scared. I was nervous. Do I want to hit? Yes, I want to hit. No, I don't want to hit. I'm afraid. Yes, I want to hit. No, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I didn't know what to do because I did not want to get paid. I did not want to hit it and then not get paid at title. I didn't want to lose it. For those of you that don't know, if you're not a director or above yet, y'all, it's the only title that you can lose. It's technically not the only title to lose, but it's the one you're most likely to lose. Guys, I was terrified. I was terrified, but I thought, you don't get anywhere when you're scared, and we're not going to let fear hold us back. We're not going to let fear hold us back and tell us lies and keep us small, okay? I am made to be a big presence. This is what I was brought here to do, and damn it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to figure it out along the way. So I promoted to director in June, okay? That was June of 2019. Fast forward to March of 2020. We all know what happens, and we were figuring it out. And I started to be afraid about losing my title because we were all worried about what was going to happen in the world. And I thought, nope, I'm going to pour into the people. I'm going to pour into the people, and I'm going to make leaders. I'm going to help people see the potential that I can see in themselves, that I can see in them. So May of 2020, brought up 2 leaders, okay? Coach 2 leaders. Now, the thing about coaching is somebody has to be coachable, and they have to be willing to hear you. That's the first step. But then it's up to them what they do with it. And I had 2 girls that promoted that month. So I hit star director. Less than a year after I hit director. Awesome. Fabulous. And I knew I wanted SSD. I wanted SSD for all these reasons. And we'll get into that. But it's important to tell you that I was paid at title every month that I was a director, and then some. We often had the GWV before we had the leaders, which is often the case with most promotions at the leadership level. And so I was just waiting for those leaders to emerge, right? I was looking in the reports all the time, looking for those leaders to emerge, watching. So in the fall, we had a couple come up, then we had some go into the DQ, so that didn't work out, and we missed, SSD. The first time we missed SSD, it was by like 8,000 GWV and 1 leader. It killed me, but I just knew it wasn't my season. And I talked to a mentor of mine, and I was just like, I just don't know when it's going to happen for me. And now looking back on that, I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? I reinstated. So I came back full circle in August of 2017. And by fall of 2020, 3 years later, I'm over here going, when's it going to happen for me? Instant gratification, friends. Needing it before it's your time. How many of you have rushed something? You've rushed through it because you're trying to obtain a success that someone else put up there, right? Someone else's definition of success. It's a title. I need to achieve it. Now, there's other reasons that I wanted to be an SSD. I wanted to break out into my own leadership. I wanted the reports. I wanted the seat at the table for my people, right? It was more than just, hey, I got to have this title. Truth be told, is because a lot of the people that I admired and I aspired to be like, and that I wanted to be friends with, were already at that table. So I thought, let me get to that table, and it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows. Okay. So my mentor, one of them, told me, I think it's going to be March for you. I think March is going to be your month. And I'm thinking to myself, that's crazy. Who promotes to SSD in March? Like, what? So we go through the seasons, whatever, you know, and I'm paid at title every month as an SD too. Okay. I'm like, I'm here for it. This is awesome. Y'all, March turns around and we're not at the point, like, I don't know if you guys have you seen those trackers that it's the GWV tracker per day? And you can follow that to see. If you haven't seen it, ask your director, ask your SSD for it. Okay. They are GWV trackers per day, and you can track to see if your group is on track to hit whatever promotion or be paid at title. So I lived by that thing, by the way. Like, I lived by it. And I lived as in past tense, by the way. But when I was coming up, it was really important for me to watch those numbers. I'm a big analytical person. So I was watching these numbers and we weren't on track, but some of my girls were on track to hit director. And I was like, okay, this is going to be bomb. This is going to be bomb. They can hit, they can hit, they can hit. So I worked with my sponsor, my best friend, to create a plan. And she and I looked into the reports and we created a plan. And we said, this is what we're going to do. We are going to help these people hit director because they're already ahead of schedule. They're ready for it. And we're going to make sure that there's magic in March. And so we ran reports like crazy and we looked for every little thing. If somebody was $10 from being at 500, we challenged that and we told them that. And if somebody was close to being certified, we made sure they knew it. If they were so close to being paid at star consultant title, but they just needed one more, they need one more active consultant and the person was $22. We made sure that both the person $22 away and the leader knew. Like, we were that deep into the reports and looking, and every $22 mattered that month. So about mid-month, we are now on track. We're leading a little bit further. And so we tell the group, and the group rallies around this, and we hit SSD in March. I had the leaders in place before I had the GWV in place, and that is unheard of. When I hit SSD, we had 274 people in our group. 274 people in our group. It was insanity. Like, that's a super small group for those of you that don't know. It's a super small group, and it's not really heard of that people hit with those kind of numbers. And it's usually you're waiting on the leaders, you have you have the GWV. So it was like all this thing, and we were in a super high. And remember, I was coming off of 2 years of paid at leadership title, like director, then SD, and I was soaring through these things. And I had heard people had mentioned SS depression, SSD, SS depression before, but when it was explained to me, it was always explained to me that it was because you achieved everything there was to achieve. There are no more promotions to get. There's no more celebration. There's no more blah, 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 which I don't really understand because hello, there's always incentives. Hello, there's always leaders to help, build. And that is an accomplishment when you can help change somebody else's life with this business and you can help coach and mentor somebody else. That is something. And that needs to be celebrated every damn day. There's that. There's annual sales. There's annual mentor. There's all kinds of things. Hell, there's circle of excellence. Hello. There's all kinds of things that you could be going for and achieving, and personal growth too. So I never understood that. But here's what happened, friends, after I hit SSD. I was then paid at title in April. I think I was paid at title in May, but we missed paid at title in June by like something crazy. Like, I don't even remember what it was. It was crazy though. It was like $2,000. And then I wasn't paid at title again until the fall. Okay. And it's been just a little bit over a year. And I've been paid at title, I think 5 months out of this past year plus. 5 months. For me, that's hard. It's hard for a few reasons. One, as I explained, I'm this goal-oriented person, and I want to be successful, and I want to be my version of success. But I also want to be viewed as successful by the company, by my peers, by my team, by my leaders, by my friends, and by my family. And so there's a lot of imposter syndrome that's happened in the last year because I'm not paid at title. I'm going to be really honest with you and tell you that I'm down to one frontline director right now. And that's really hard. So right now, we have the GWV and then some, but I'm not even hitting SD numbers. And it's really, really fucking hard. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse in here, but I'm going to. Hi, it's me and I'm authentic, I swear. So it's really, really hard. What's harder still is wanting it for people more than they want it for themselves. Because I've always known that after director, well, really after certified consultant, there's no title that you do on your own. None. Lead, star, superstar, director, star director, SSD, they all take other people, right? They take your team members to help you. You can't do it on your own. It's not a one woman or a one man show. It's just not. So, here's the thing. I keep saying, and those closest to me know, that I say all the time, like, okay, God, like, I hear you. I'm humble now. I'm humble. You can bring the title back. You can bring my paychecks back, because we're going to talk about that too. But obviously he's not done teaching me a lesson. And I'm listening, she's not done teaching me a lesson. I'm here. I'm listening to it, but I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't think, I say all the time that I needed to not be paid at title so that I would appreciate and understand and be empathetic to when my leaders weren't paid at title. Because it's not easy for everyone. Leadership is really, really fucking hard, and it's really, really lonely. And I don't say that because I want sympathy. I say that because maybe you are in a dark place in your leadership journey and you need to hear that. You need someone to tell you that you're not going to get to SSD and it's going to be rainbow and sunshine. You're not going to get to SSD and automatically be guaranteed a $10,000 paycheck. P.S. I've been here for over a year and I'm still waiting on $10,000. Okay? See income disclosure statement before I get in trouble. It's just what it is. Okay? It's not all glamorous. And why? Because you are dealing with people. This is a people business. And when you're talking about a leadership role and being a team leader, you are dealing with people, and people are the most unpredictable, fickle, fragile commodities there are. Okay? And you are dealing with people with their own issues, with their own struggles, with their own egos, with all of the things, right? And so you've got to navigate that all while you protect your peace. Because I have been told by my team some pretty awful things. I have had really awful things said to me by my team. And people have thought the worst of me. And anybody that knows me knows that even though I've got a really, really tough exterior, I've got a big old smushy heart, and I just love people, and I want people to have the best of what life can offer them, the best of what they're willing to go after. But when you're a leader and you're in a business where it is so personal, you take a lot to bed with you. You go to bed at night with people's pain on your shoulders. You go to bed at night with other people's struggles, and that weighs on you. And if you're a person like me that wants to be liked, like I talk a big game, like I don't really care if you don't like me, and mostly, depending on the person, I might not, but mostly I do want to be liked. I do want to be of value to somebody's life. I do want to be somebody that people want around. And I want to be somebody that helps other people. That is my purpose. My purpose is to help other people. So when things start to fall apart, it hurts. And it hurts a lot when it's people that you care about and they choose to walk away from you because of whatever reason. And I have started to realize that I am enough. Like, this is a new revelation, by the way, because for like, I don't know, the first 2 or 3 months of SSD were great. But then the 6 months that followed that, I even like once posted in a leadership group that I wanted to give my title back. And I was so dead serious. I was ready to like call Sensi and be like, y'all can have it. Like, I don't want it anymore. Just take it. Please take it. Because this shit is hard and there's too much expectation and there's too much comparison and there's not enough friendly faces. And when I was coming up, I had a lot of people that were like, oh, I'm saving you a seat at the table. I'm saving you a seat at the table. And I can't wait for you to be an SSD too. And I can tell you I've been to a couple of events where I've been around my peers and I don't feel that warm embrace. I don't feel that warm embrace. And I was told that there's cliques and I was told that there's whatever. Whatever. And I try to be honest with myself and I try to say, Johanna, first of all, people think you're confident and they think you got it all together and that, you know, nobody is needing to scoop you up. That's the first thing I tell myself, whether it's truth or lie, I don't know. The second thing I tell myself is that there's been 2 years of the world shut down and these people all had time to build their friendships. And you just haven't had that time. But when you're not being paid a title, when you already feel like a failure, and then your peers even don't embrace you the way you hope to be embraced, it's hard. And again, I'm not saying this. I am not saying this because I want you to feel sorry for me. Like, please, Lord, I don't need anybody to feel sorry for me. I don't. Okay? But what I do need you to know is that that's a choice. If you stay in that mindset, that is a choice. That is a choice. But it's really hard, and I'm going to tell you when it was hardest for me. So, SFR, this year, I was getting ready to walk the stage. And by the way, I'm going to turn this around. It's not all going to be sob. I got a plan. Stick with me. But I was getting ready to walk the stage as an SSD. And I dreamt about that walk for 4.5 years. Okay? Dreamt about that walk for 4.5 years. And I was so excited. Because this was my first SFR. It's a lot of letters. The last SFR I was at in person was 2019. And I had just promoted to director. No, Nancy, I need you to stick with me. Maybe you missed the beginning of this, but I told you I didn't want this to scare you. But I was so excited. But the first time I walked as a director, and I got to walk hand in hand with my best friend because she is also a director. And I got to walk with her hand in hand, and it was so exciting. And I went backstage and I felt very alone. But it was that imposter syndrome. Because people smiled, people said hello, people did all of these things. But they were catching up with their friends for 2 years too. And I did feel alone. I did. But I missed my friends, my best friend, my best friends, who all got to walk together as directors. And I wanted my people with me. And it hurts when you want your people with you. And as you are a leader, your job becomes to build and bring other people with you. And sometimes you have to learn to slay in your own lane. So I walked as an SSD, and I was overcome with emotion, and I broke down as soon as I sat in my seat. And it was a million feelings. It was listening to Chuck on the loudspeaker talk about the requirements as an SSD and knowing I didn't do that. Knowing that I wasn't doing that in the time. That a lot of my directors, like 6 of them, have lost their title in the last year. That I am down to 1 director who's showing as a director, 2 in DQ that I know are going to kick the queue and kick their queue's ass. But one of them is a first gen. The second one is a second gen. Guys, like, the reality is I still need more leaders. So I felt like a failure because I'm listening to these things and knowing I wasn't hitting them and knowing my perception of success and knowing what the company perceived as success. And then I said, you know what? I got to get my ass up because I got to go walk again because I earned annual sales. And damn it, wait a minute. I earned annual sales. I got to go walk. So I took my heels off because they hurt my feet and I put some flats on and I walked. And you know what? This time I found friends backstage. Guess what? They were also backstage when they were walking for SSD. They too are SSDs. I talked the whole time. I took pictures backstage with friends. See what I mean by that was a choice the first time? That was a first time. Or that was a choice that first time. A choice. You decide what success is. You decide whether or not you've achieved it, not because somebody else did. And you decide if you're going to put yourself out there. And you know what? If you're not welcome at a table, or if you don't feel like you're vibing at the table, build your own damn table. Build your own damn table. But you don't get to sit here and allow imposter syndrome to set in and tell you that you are any less than. You just don't. Because here's the thing, friends, the higher you go up in this compensation plan or in any leadership role that you're going to be in, the more people it takes to row the boat. And if you have people that don't want to row the boat, they want to be on their cell phone or they want to be doing whatever, they want to take a nap, they want to throw the damn oar in the ocean, in the lake, you throw them in the lake with the oar and you get somebody else to row. Because you need all hands on deck. It is not something you can do on your own, and you cannot want this more for people than they want for themselves. You have got to find people that want it. You have to find people that are worth your time. And I'm sorry if that's going to ruffle some feathers, especially if some of my group members are watching this. But I'm going to match effort with effort. Because I'm a damn business owner and no CEO is going to pour into a lazy employee. And there is one thing, if you are trying your hardest, it is a whole nother avenue if you just decided that it's too hard so you don't want it anymore. Or if you feel like it's harder than you thought or it's not easy, guess what? Nothing worth having is easy. And when you have to work for something or you have to work harder to get it, guess what? You appreciate that a whole lot more. Because I can promise you, friends, that once I get it back, it's not going anywhere. But I'm going to tell you something. You cannot sustain SSD with 4 first-gen directors. You just can't. That's too much pressure on 4 people. You need to keep building. You need to keep building. And the mistake that I made that nobody talks about is I continued to pour into people, A, that didn't want it, that showed me over and over again that didn't want it. Hell, I had them telling me they didn't want it, and I kept pouring. 2, I relied too much on 4 people. And instead of letting those people, those leaders, lead and do their thing, I stayed here instead of going to pull up the rest. Big mistake. Big mistake. Because here's why, friends. Because either these leaders were going to lead and they didn't need me anymore. And if I was doing my job right the first time, that's exactly what should have happened, is that they didn't need me anymore and that they were ready to lead and step into their own. Or they weren't going to do ish with this anyway, and I was wasting my time. Right? So either way, my focus was here when it needed to be back here, getting the rest of the leaders that wanted to come up. And that is what I'm doing now. I'm getting the leaders who want to come up. Some of them I haven't recruited yet. I'm going to be honest, I don't foresee myself being paid at title this fall. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I have finally become okay with not getting paid at title. I even said that during a coaching call this month with home office. And if that means that I'm not going to get coaching calls anymore, if they're like, well, what's going on here? It is not a badge of dishonor. It is not a defeatist attitude. It is a realistic thing that my focus right now does not need to be in whether or not my workstation says SSD, and more so on finding the people whose lives can be changed by this opportunity and by my coaching. And so some of those people are in my reports right now, and some of them haven't been recruited yet. Either way, this is where my heart is at right now. This is where my story's at. So I, my friends, might be an SSD, but don't get it twisted. Don't get hung up on a title. Not somebody else's that you look up to and not your own. Because I can tell you, I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not the only SSD in this compensation plan that isn't being paid at title. I'm just the only one not afraid to talk about it, or one of few not afraid to talk about it anymore. Because I no longer define my success by somebody else's definition. Here's one thing that I did learn. When we were at SFR, John, and I forget what his last name is, the musician, he said, when you're thinking about success, remember that Justin Bieber has sold more albums than Adele. Well, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, my friend, if I was going to be a musician, I would never be a Bieber. I'd be an Adele all day long. And I am totally okay. I would be okay tomorrow if Sensi was like, you know what? We're going to take away your title until you have the qualifications that you need. I'll be the first to tell you that I'd be an advocate for that, actually. Because I don't think it's fair that directors are the only ones that lose their titles. I guess if I lose this last, person as a director, I might lose my title too. But I don't foresee that happening. Like I said, I got 2 more. They're getting their title back soon. The thing about it is, though, is that you can't teach motivation. I think people get it all wrong when they think that they have to do what somebody else does in order to be successful. I'm so tired of hearing how busy other people are. I'm still working a full-time job, and I am never probably going to leave that job. To be honest, it's a big goal of mine to be able to walk away from it, but I have a 6-figure salary and incredible benefits, health benefits, and I have one child with a life-threatening peanut allergy and ADHD, and another child who's asthmatic and seasonal allergies galore, I don't foresee leaving my job until Sensi comes out with a great medical plan, to be honest. And I'll tell you what, friends, last year when I was being paid at Title and my paychecks were $5,000 or $6,000, I thought to myself, oh wow, $10,000 can't be far behind. And when $10,000 is here, I could quit my job. God dang it, am I glad that didn't happen. Can you imagine if I walked away from my job and my paychecks now were thousands of dollars less than what they were when they were high? I had months where I was making more as a director. Guys, this is real life. But I'm going to tell you something. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Because I get to determine my success. I get to determine how I challenge myself and how I'm going to grow. I get to say, I can pour into people and I can go back to all of the things that got me to SSD and make sure that I'm consistent with those things. I get to do the things I want to do or not do the things I don't want to do. I get to choose who to do this life with. And I get to add extra income every month to my family, regardless if it's $1,000 or $6,000. There are people in this business, there are SSDs that are making $10,000, $20,000, more $1,000. Paychecks we can't imagine, right? That life-changing money. And my vision tells me that that will be me one day too. It's just not my journey now. My journey now needed to happen so that I could be here to tell you guys that it's okay when you get to the top and you don't succeed right away. Because blessings often disguise themselves as challenges. And the thing is that this part of my journey is going to change my life and it's going to change so many other lives too. Failing is relatable. Failing is only truly a failure if you let that be the end of your story. And I'm the comeback queen. I'm the comeback queen. I'm coming back. I'm coming back strong. And all the while, I'm changing the narrative, right? I'm changing the narrative and how people welcome people to the table and what that looks like. And making sure that people know that every part of your journey is an inspiration and every part of your journey is worth telling. The road to success is paved in failures. But I know, I believe 100% that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. Exactly when I'm supposed to be here. Talking to, inspiring those on my team, those outside of my team, and telling everybody that it's okay. So if you are a director who is in the queue, or you're a director who has lost your title, or you're somebody who is struggling to promote to that next level, be it lead, star, superstar, whatever, please know that just because it doesn't happen tomorrow doesn't mean it wasn't supposed to happen. Just because you did it once and you're struggling to do it again doesn't mean it's not coming again. But I'm going to tell you right now that the only way your best days are behind you is if you quit. If you don't quit and you keep going and you do the small things little by little, it's going to add up to some really crazy success. And the success you thought you were meant to have is only the tip of the surface. Keep going. Keep going, because those visions that you have for yourself, those are life's coming attractions. That's what that is. That is God or whatever you believe in, some higher power, that higher power showing you the way. If you can see it in your head, friends, you can hold it in your hands. But you have got to keep going. Your hardest days, those are not the days you quit. Your hardest days are there to teach you a lesson. And one day you're going to look back on your hardest season and you're going to know it was a blessing. Just like one day I'm going to look back when it's no longer a struggle to be paid at title, when I am walking the stage with my own group members who are also SSDs, I am going to know that there was a purpose. And I'm going to be able to see a little bit more clearly what that is. We're not supposed to be able to see the frame when we're in the picture, friends. And this business is a whole lot like pointillism. You know, the art with the tiny little dots, those tiny little dots that are mere paint strokes. They don't make much sense when you're making the painting, when you're in it. But if you step back and you can not only see the picture and what all of those tiny little dots amounted to, but you could see the beautiful frame. Everything you do every day, hard, easy, in between, every struggle, every success is just another dot. It's just another dot. And in the grand scheme of things, these little failures that feel like a whole lot when they're happening. I know, trust me, I've cried with you here tonight. I know that they feel like a lot. And even as you start to move past them, even as you believe that you were built for more and that the failure is part of your journey, even as you're there, I can tell you that even though it feels like a lot, it's not. It is a mere dot in your painting. And eventually you won't be able to make that failure out from another one or a success. And it's all going to be part of the beautiful painting that you're drawing or you're painting or you're creating. Please keep going. Please keep going. Because I mean it when I say I'm saving you a seat at the top. I love you. Get some sleep. Sweet dreams. Tomorrow you have work to do. Bye.